Alrighty, so here's a taste of what it's like being a car dealership for a day. My Friday included 3 trips to the local Ford dealership, a missed sale, a sale, and a trip to the courthouse for court documents for a small claims court against us. So let's dive into all of that craziness, along with some other things that I can think of along the way that are relevant, right? So, starting off, I'm not going to say too much about the court case until it's finalized, but it had to drop off some court documents to the courthouse based off, advice from my lawyer and everything. So, that's about all I'm going to say there, but I will elaborate after everything's finalized and done. That being said, the next thing is the Ford dealership. So we got this Ford Fusion, and it had an ABS light on it, needed an ABS module. Then you had to take it to Ford to get it flashed. So I showed up to Ford, and they're like, "Oh, well, you didn't tell us to do the work because, we always do our recall work first, and you never told us whether or not you wanted the recall work done." Like, no, I don't. I didn't want the recall work done because I would have gotten it done for free. But they said that there was, since the car has modifications to it, that I'd have to pay them to remove the upgrades to the car. It was like 200 and something bucks to remove the upgrades of the car so that they could do this little recall, and then they would replace the upgraded parts with their base parts. And I'm like, I'm not gonna touch that. There's nothing wrong with that right now. I was like, I will let the person know that purchases the vehicle. There is a recall out for the car, but yeah, in terms of like taking parts that are better than your parts for what it was the weirdest thing. I felt like they were trying to upsell me on some stuff. You got a really bad vibe, so I said, no, 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 we're not doing that. I was like, it's in the Carfax. I'll give it to the person. They can do with it as they wish. With the recall. So it didn't even seem like it was that big of a deal. But I mean, if there's a recall out there, it's probably needs to be done. But in terms of like the upgraded parts versus not, I'm not gonna downgrade my parts and pay them to do that, right? So that being said, I go back to them, and then they're like, "Oh, okay, well," later in the afternoon, I'm like going back there. "Oh, well, we didn't do your paperwork yet." I'm like, "Oh my gosh." Then they didn't even fix the damn car. So then I finally get it. I get it paid for, and everything like that. And then I'm driving it. And the brakes are like literally going to the floor. Oh, so almost hit somebody because of just driving the car, and there's no brakes. No brakes on the car. I mean, there are. I mean, it slowly stopped, but I mean, it was not like what I dropped it off as. I tell you that, it was worse than that. So needless to say, had to take it back to them and say, okay, well, if you guys did that, I was like, what did you guys do? Did you guys not bleed the brakes? Did you go, what is going on with the car? Because now it brakes worse than when I gave it to y'all. And I gave it to y'all for a brake issue. So y'all didn't fix anything. So needless to say, it's back at the Ford dealership trying to get resolved. In the middle of all that, I have 2 customers there trying to buy a car now. One of them does buy the vehicle, but they needed to wait for their cosigner to get there. But the cosigner won't be there till tomorrow, so we put a hold on the vehicle with a deposit. So they're coming back today to buy that car, and then we've got this other guy stopped in, and a low credit score, like just over 400, like just barely over 400. But yeah, I mean, he stopped in, no big deal. I mean, that's what our customers are, our subprime. So he stops in, and he fills out all of his paperwork and everything. I mean, not paperwork, but his what we call stips, which is like stipulations, which is just like your bank account, um, proof of residency. Oh, here we go again. Oh, and the coffee's not even another story. Last night, my wife and I, we got home, we realized we left the freaking coffee pot on the whole day, which is, obviously dangerous and stupid. So my wife, took it off the pot and everything like that. There wasn't anything in it. That's why we just left it. We didn't even realize it was on, but it was just sitting there hot. For whatever reason, she put it in the sink and put water in it and cracked it. So, the pod coffee pot that we use is a Bunn, Bunn. It's amazing, coffee in 3 minutes. But and we've had the same machine, which is like an industrial machine. I think we bought it for like $150 from Sam's Club, like when we were in our apartment complex in like 2006. So here we are, like, I don't know, it's a lot of math, but we're that far. What's that? 6 plus 10, like 16 years. Like 16 years later, it still just runs. It runs and drives perfect. It's like a Toyota. Um, but unfortunately, the coffee pot did break, so I had to put my coffee in an actual pot, which is tasting terrible because it's not hot. So I got it on the stove, cooking right now, hopefully heating up. But the one that I have in my cup, it is not hot. It is that lukewarm, which is awfully disgusting tasting. But I'm still gonna drink it because I need it. Ugh. All right, let's get through enough of it so I can put hotter stuff in it. Anywho, well, back to what I was talking about. So the guy takes the car, gets everything approved, which is awesome. Takes the car on a test drive, comes back, doesn't want to buy the car. Why doesn't he want to buy the car? Well, because I guess one of the speakers in the door isn't working. I didn't know that. Didn't realize that. That's part of the awful thing about owning a car dealership. You don't know when things are going to break. That is terrible. And when they do break, because of the sleaziness and that people associate with car dealers, which rightfully so, um, you just assume that the car dealer did it on purpose. On purpose, we broke the car just because that's what we want to do. That's exactly what I want to do. I want to just sell you a car that breaks on purpose when I don't do any work or, and everything. I don't know. I don't know what the reason why that would be, but that's the immediate assumption, is that I patched it up on purpose. But the problem is a car has a lot of moving pieces. You got the doors, windows, all the engine components, tires, brakes, rotors. I mean, so many parts. There's so many things on a vehicle, and these are used vehicles, and you can't notice everything. I mean, you try your best. Try your best to get it inspected. Try your best to notice everything. But there's so many parts, you make mistakes. It is what it is. And when a customer picks that out, you're just like, shoot. Dang it. So needless to say, he decided for whatever reason not to buy the vehicle. He said it was for the speakers. Could have been 100 different reasons, right? It could have been like, he didn't like the deal, whatever like that. And that was his escape. A lot of people do that. A lot of people do that stuff. They'll say this reason or that reason, but it is what it is. I mean, it's just the way that part of the business. They don't want to buy the car. They don't want to buy the car. Can't make them. Can't force them. Not going to. If they go somewhere else and they get a car there, good for them. If not, sometimes they come back. I would say 9 out of 10. If they leave your lot, they don't come back. Unless they put a deposit down, they ain't coming back because you're not really offering them much different than anybody else, except for the fact that you're saying you can get them into a car. And if they can find another dealer that'll get them into a car that they perceive as better, even if it's either higher mileage or whatever, but it's prettier, or maybe it's uglier but has lower mileage. I mean, it could be any number of things, right? So that's kind of the reality. So unfortunately, we lost the sale there. The guy said he's going to come back on Tuesday. Probably not. In all honesty, and if he does, I'll update you guys and let you know that he came back. But most often, if they leave the lot, they do not come back. That is your one chance to sell them a car, and that chance is gone as soon as they leave, right? So, that being said, it was a solid day because we've been slow since May 20th. I think we only sold like 5 cars in what is this, like 6 weeks maybe? That's awful for us. Awful. I mean, we usually sell 3, 4, 5 cars a week, and so selling 1 a week, very, very low, very low, very low. And it's very interesting that it's just like a switch that turned off as soon as the interest rates got too high, which doesn't affect us at all. I mean, we don't. It doesn't affect our interest rates that we charge to the customers. It doesn't affect any of that. I guess customers are just getting a little more squeezed with inflation and everything. So maybe that's the case. It just doesn't seem like it was that inflation it didn't seem like inflation really kicked on 2 months ago, from May up forward. It's not like all of a sudden somebody turned the inflation switch on, right? Inflation's been a deal since, at least December. And, January, February, March, April, we were booming. So some reason, and the first 2 weeks of May, but as soon as, you know, they came out and raised the rates, everybody just all of a sudden froze in terms of getting vehicles. But in my world, it doesn't really change much because the interest rates that people are getting charged were already pretty high. Unfortunately, because there's subprime, and you know, there's a lot of reasons that go behind that, and we can always have another video talking about interest rates and interest rates in the subprime world, and how those all work and why they work a certain way. But with that, I want to keep this video under 12 minutes. So here we are at 10 minutes. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys like the video. Have a great weekend. If y'all have any questions, as always, feel free to mention them in the comments, and ask me directly, and you know, I will answer back your comments if I can in the comment section there. If the answer is really long, I'll probably just make another video about it, and I'll let you know. I'll kind of tag you and say, hey, I'm making a video about your question, and then I'll just answer it in there, right? So, but like I said, open book. I'll tell you all anything. I don't have anything to hide. I run my business very well, and I do everything legal and legit way. I know I did start this thing off by saying something about court, but that's a stupid small claims issue that shouldn't even be a thing. It's just you can't please everybody, unfortunately. So that, and I'll elaborate more on that when that one's done. But yeah, that's just ridiculousness. Just a waste of time, really. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, who knows? Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. Maybe it's a learning experience, if anything, how this whole thing works, right? Because we've never been to court for anything. So, with that being said, I'm going to end the video, guys. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful day. And as always, ask me anything you need to ask me, okay? All right, bye.